Everybody, it's Jack, Kenna, and Carly Hall. Let's say
We're
hello.
back.
We're
Hi.
back. We're back, and this is
A new
Paranormal
venue.
Q&A. What?
A new venue.
A new venue.
Yeah.
Well, not new venue. We're back with our old stuff again. So, well, new house. Yeah, new
Yeah, that's what
place.
I meant.
Yeah.
New setting for us.
Yeah, new
New
setting, new
venue.
place. Yeah. Yeah. New venue for us, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we are back here, and we're moved into my old house, the house I grew up in here, Rensselaer, New York. Not much of a move for us, anyway. We lived in Rensselaer, New York. Carly lived in Rensselaer, just about a mile, maybe a little
Yeah,
bit
mile
less,
down
about
the
a
road.
mile from
Just
here.
move down the road, past the
Yeah,
street.
literally down the road. So,
One
we're
street away.
here, we're online, and we're back for your paranormal Q&A with Jack and Carly. So we're here to answer your questions. I see Erica is online. Hello, Erica. I mean, Erica.
Eric. It's
Eric
Eric.
Julian. Sorry, Eric. Eric. Yeah, there is an Erica that comes online too. I just looked really quickly, and so it was the E-R and made an assumption. But anyways, it's Eric. How you doing there, Eric? Larry, we're both very much looking forward to going to Gettysburg Bash again this year. Eric is one of the people that helps manage and run all that. I see Keith is on. Bobby Carter is on. Hello, Bobby. Chris Sanders, how you doing, people? Yeah, you're one of our favorite people too, Chris. Good to see you on. Last time we saw Chris was down at
Ted's event.
yes, yeah, the Winter Parafest out in Rochester area
Yes.
in New York. So I see Laura. Hey, says Laura. Hey, back to you, Laura, with a little heart symbol there. We see that. Um, Eric, Eric writes, Eric Julian writes Erica. Yeah, Erica Julian. Yeah, we're gonna call you that from now on, Erica. Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
Erica.
yeah. That's all right,
You're
Eric.
doomed.
Yeah. We can't wait either, Eric. It's gonna be a great time. We're actually gonna be down at the Lookout House coming up, just for a little getaway. But we actually do have an event that same weekend too. And that's the end of March here, right? So no, that's not the end of March. It's
No.
April
Beginning of April.
2nd. Well, yeah, April 2nd will be down there. It's the weekend of April 2nd. The April 4th is the event down in Maryland that we'll be going to. And Carly, you can look that up if you like and see what that event name is. I know we've got so much going on. One of the next ones coming up is the Psychic Kids event, right? That's the end of
Over in West Virginia.
Right, that's the end of this month. We did have to miss out on going down to Tennessee. Carly had get hit with a stomach bug first, and I got it, and we were all still wiped out from our move. We would have made it if it hadn't been for being sick, but
Yeah.
um, we did not make that. We did make it via Skype, though. We Skyped into that event. Great event, great people. Our buddy Greg. TJ Justice ran that. Great guy. Great event. We heard. There's a lot of good people there. We did see them. We did get to meet pretty much everybody, thank goodness. So we did get to be there for that. But tonight we're back on to answer your questions. Where's my finger? Your questions about the paranormal. So, so if you guys got any questions for us, you want to ask anything, feel free to do so. Carly really has all the answers. I don't know much of anything personally. You're just joking about that way last night. Is it that Jack Kenna does not even believe in ghosts? I don't believe in ghosts
Oh yeah,
anymore.
that was with Father.
Yeah, I read something online or something that ghosts don't exist, so now I no longer believe. Anyway, it's just a joke, people.
Poor Ed.
It's just a joke. Yeah. I was messing with our friend Ed.
Yeah.
Yes, John, we will see you at John Covey is on. And yes, we will see you at Psychic Kids Journey Begins. It is our next event here at the end of March. And then we have one April 4th as well. But we're going down to Lookout House on April 2nd. We're staying through the 5th, just a break for us with the event in between. So that'll be pretty cool. Visit with our friends. Maybe Eric can show up while we're at the Lookout House. Just staying there with Steve and Pam. And, our prayers are still going out to Steve for his daughter, who was in a car accident recently. Or you said you saw that she's doing better.
I think, but hopefully.
hopefully that's the
Right.
case. If anybody does know, you want to shout out about that, about Steve Berry's daughter. If you know she's her condition, please tell us. We're still praying for all of them down there anyway. Um, it's all good. So, but again, we're here to answer your questions. We do not have a guest tonight. It was originally still trying to plan on Ellen McNeil to be our guest for the show. Um, but I don't know if she's back yet from down south. If she happens to be on and wants to jump on, we can bring her in if she happens to be looking. Oh, I see Bonnie. Bonnie is here. Our friend Bonnie pulled her lucky.
Yay!
She was one of our class attendees, one of our students in our class up at Hudson Valley back last October. And we are holding the classes again. Yeah, they're scheduled for April, mid-April through mid-March at Hudson Valley Community College. Once again, sign up for that. The information is scrolling below. If you see that registration, it's actually coming up right now on the scrolling. It's registration for the 101 class at Hudson Valley Community College. I think it just says Paranormal Research on the online thing. But you can go to Hudson Valley's website, hvcc.edu, programs, community education, and you can find it from there, schedules and everything else. Hello, Kelly Berger, Jared Osborne, Terry, our good friend Terry Egan from over in Waterville is here online. So who's got a question for us tonight? Or do we have to start asking you guys questions? Oh,
Ooh.
maybe we have to do that. Yeah, maybe. See who's still around. Hey, I see. Who do we want to pick? I see. How about I see Robin Hall's out there too, and Cheryl Bookshire.
You mean Robin Kale?
Yeah, Kale. Oh, sorry.
You're botching names today,
Yeah,
man. Maybe I should take the name.
yeah, you probably should. I see Bob Maloney is on too. There's Bob. Yeah, I got a question for Bob. Bob Maloney. I got a question for Bob. What does he think about his Mel meter that he has?
Yeah.
I know he's used it and he's had a little bit of work with it now. So I'm wondering what Bob's Maloney out there, if you're listening, what's your opinion? You just type it in if you like. What's your opinion on your Mel meter that you have? And give us the actual number of the Mel meter you have, because I know it's not the. I think I got the old 1403 or something like that. They're one of the original ones, but Bob's got a newer one. It's got interesting stuff on it. So, Bob, shout out about your Mel meter out there. I want to know what experiences have you had with it, and what is your opinion of it as a piece of equipment. So you guys didn't ask questions, so I had to ask one. Oh, we have it. We have a question. We have a question from Dwayne. All of a sudden, everything's updating. I don't know if I had a delay there. All right. So, Dwayne Woodward, what's your thoughts on the SB11 Spirit Box? I don't own the SB11. I have the SB7, and I like it very much. I do think the SB11 actually gives you a little bit more versatility because it does have more channels to it. I have had really good communication through the SB7 Spirit Box. I do like it, and I think the SB11 would be just as good. Maybe you've got double the amount of channels or double the amount of stuff on there. It's like having two SB7 Spirit Boxes are together, but there's a little bit more functionality to it. I think it's a good device if you're a little bit more beyond just the basic beginning investigator. I think it's a great piece of equipment to have. If you were going to choose between the SB7 and the SB11, I'd probably, when I bought mine, they didn't have the SB11, so I got the SB7. But now I think if I had the choice between the two, I probably would have bought the SB11. That's my opinion on that, Dwayne. I think it works. I do think Carly knows. I believe pretty much anything can work. Right, Carly?
Oh, yeah.
You can use anything. What's your opinion on using, like I've used the SB7 Spirit Box with you and stuff. What's your opinion on those type of devices?
I like it. Actually, I think that in certain locations, it actually draws the spirit activity through. like for instance, at the Lookout House when we were in the basement, we used the spirit box, correct?
Yes, we did. We
And
used the SB7
literally,
spirit box.
it was like we had. Well, actually, they did say that there was about 8 to 10 spirits in the room at that one time, and
Good.
then it escalated. And then once we decided to turn it off because it was getting so overwhelming, it died back, died back down again. So, um, I like it. I think in certain aspects it does work, but um, after probably in a little spurt, spurts at a time, and
Yeah, because it is kind of noisy. It does work on your ears
yeah,
after.
it
I
does
do I do
give
believe
quite a bit of
after
headache.
too much time with it, I don't think you want to use that more than 10, 15 minutes, to be honest, at a blop.
And give
Maybe
the audio
30, maybe
reviewer a
30,
break.
just because if you're going to switch people out, because it does begin to get to be too much on your ears. I
Yeah,
think you start to hear things that aren't really there.
yeah.
Carly, Craig Hawk, my friend Craig Hawk, or our friend Craig. Craig hasn't met you yet in person, but he's a good guy. We should get together
Yeah.
with him again. He lives locally. He lives over in Latham. He says hi to you, Carly. So
Oh, hi.
Craig, we need to get together again. We haven't been together. Maybe we should meet out for coffee.
Yes.
The bunch of us. Me, you, Carly, and your girlfriend out there. If you guys like, we'll give me a message out here and a private message, and or reach out to Carly, and maybe we'll get, because he just lives over in Latham, so we can get
That's
together.
awesome.
I met
Yeah,
him
absolutely.
at a Comic Con up in Saratoga Comic Con, and he was doing a little. He was playing. Uh, they had a group that was like, oh, what's that movie? Oh, darn it, my mind just went blank. Craig, shout out about your part you play for your thing at the Comic Cons with the show there that you were doing. Because I can't remember the name of it. I actually took pictures with those guys. Everything else. He
Was it like
actually
the Mandalorians, like
no,
the?
not minute. No. This is like zombie stuff.
Oh, okay.
It was
I like zombie
oh my
stuff.
god. It started with making video games for it and everything else, and then they made movies from it, and anyway, I hung out with them. They had the car, they had all this stuff. It's very cool. But Craig looks just like one of the characters from the movie, so he
That's
plays
awesome.
that part when he does it. He's very cool. In fact, I think in his little image there, he's dressed up as that. So you may want to pull that up, and you can see what I'm talking about. But give a shout out to it, Craig. You're more than welcome to.
Yes.
Robin Kale has a question for us. I'm going to get down. We're getting a little bit behind. I see that, everybody, but I'm going to try to catch up because there's a few people saying hi to us, and Colette says hi to me, and Carly, Cheryl. There's a whole bunch of people. Um,
That's a good
and
question.
Terry says, so as you know, I sold my house.
Oh,
Okay,
yes,
Terry,
yes,
very
she
cool.
did move.
Yeah,
Congratulations. She's been wanting to do that
congratulations
for
on
a
that.
while, so
Yes, it's very cool. I know she's
yes.
from someplace else.
Um,
Anyways, Robin Kale's question. This is a good question. I like this question. If you die from suicide, do you think they stay earthbound? I'm going to pop that question right up. There's Robin's question. Um, and Carly, you give your answer to that. I know what my answer is.
yeah, which is the same, because, yeah, that would be true. So when people die by committing suicide, it isn't just an immediate trip down to, the downstairs. There is a chance for, what they say, repentance, to kind of be forgiven for what they've done, but that is a huge no-no, and it takes a lot to be able to um, pretty much pay back what they did. They just took away their own gift of life. So you know there is no, it's not like a doomed, last sentence, you have no chance. There is a chance, but it's not um it's I would say it is easy, but it's a lot to get through. It's more of like I wouldn't say that they were earthbound, but I would say that they stay on the earth for a while to make up for what they've done. Like for instance, for helping others, help guiding people, guiding people that they love, apologizing, making sure that they're okay, you know, or doing other
Yeah.
tasks that they may be presented with. So
Yeah, and that's my thoughts on that. From my own experiences with coming across spirits like that is they have things they have to do. They are they have to stay here until they make amends for what they did. It's not an automatic sentence to hell or to be earthbound here. And I think for some it's a choice. They choose because they don't want to make things up, but they're just mean, nasty people in life, and they maybe didn't even believe in heaven and hell, but they know about it, and they know they could go to a bad place for the things they did, so they stay and they make other people's lives miserable. I've had cases like that where that's what the spirit was doing because they were afraid to move on. Um, and if they do move on, I think they still are given a chance to do what they have to do to make amends. It's up to them. It's up to you. Think of it like a kind of a purgatory, I guess, in a way that you have to make up for some things that for that thing that you did. Um, especially taking your own life. But it's not just an automatic. I don't believe it's an automatic. You're going to hell. Um, but you're given a chance and a period of time, and either do it or you don't. And then the decision is made from there. God judges you after that point, and that's my opinion on that.
and I do
Right.
remember that you put up, like, on your YouTube channel, you actually put up a video of you with another client of yours having an EVP session with a spirit that had actually committed suicide because of the bullying that they had gone through.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so if they did take a direct, you know, route to hell from that, they wouldn't be able to communicate at all and reach out.
Correct. Yeah, that video is still up on our website, spiritsofnewengland.org. It's through my YouTube account because it's on there. You can also find it in my personal YouTube account. Here's another question that I want to put up here. It's from Bobby Carter because we're only having so much time. But I do want to post this. She says, Jack, sometimes when I am sleeping at night, I hear the voice calling my name. Sometimes it sounds like my husband's voice, sometimes unknown. I look around, husband is asleep. Do I have anything to worry about? What do you think it could be? I happen to have a similar experience to this. As long as you don't have anything bad going on, like really anything negative going on, nobody's being hurt, nothing's like making you feel ill in your home all the time or uncomfortable or anything like that. I have, and I used to hear it as my mother's voice, even though my mother was alive. Um, I'd hear my mother's voice, and it turned out to be my mother's grandmother, my grandmother, my mother's mother, my grandmother, who would call out to me and try to reach out to me in times when I either wasn't feeling good or or was maybe going through some tough times and things like that. And it still happens occasionally to this day. And it still sounds like my mother's voice. Now, my mother has passed still as well, but I still believe that this is my grandmother. So unless you've got anything else going on, anything bad, negative, whatever, I would say it's kind of similar to mine. It's probably not your husband, but it's probably a relative of yours that's reaching out in a voice that you're used to, that won't frighten you. And that's the thing of it too, is reaching out kind of in a voice that's doesn't seem you're not saying you're frightened by it, so I assume you're not, unless there's more to the story. But Bobby, you can always email me or Carly. My email is jackkenna.org@gmail.com. It's jackkenna.org@gmail.com. You can email me there or reach out to me privately on our Facebook Messenger here. But yeah, I don't think it's anything you have to be concerned about. Again, unless there's more to the story than what you just put up there. That's my thoughts on that. Sheila Oslander says hello to Carly and me. Hello.
Hi.
Cheryl has a question. Portals, what are your thoughts? Well, we kind of covered this the last time, but it's been a couple weeks now. Go ahead, Carly. Thoughts on portals?
Portals. There's lots of different types of portals. So there's portals that are spirit portals, so spirits come through, and they're often identified. Some people actually report hearing glass breaking or pots and pans falling on the floor or seeing a bright white flash of light in the middle of a room. And then there's also energy portals, like for the energy movements, like throughout a space. So they'll go in and out a certain area. That's just the way that the energy flows. It's not an actual like transportation portal, but it is like just an energy portal, a natural occurring energy portal.
Absolutely.
These commonly can cause nausea, dizziness, just a heavy feeling from what I've noticed standing near one. Um, Interesting enough, the relationship between mirrors or in portals, like two reflective surfaces facing each other, can actually cause a portal sometimes too. And an interesting fact that I learned on our live show with Candace is that two psychics together, if they're equal in power, they can actually create portals as well. I forget what they're called. I don't know. So, but it's an interesting concept. There's
We'll have
so many
Candace on
portals out
sometime.
there.
She can
Yeah,
explain.
absolutely.
Candace Quinn can explain
There's
sometime.
so many portals out there, and it really is a
There's
part of
spirit
the unknown.
portals. There's different types of energy
Right.
portals. There's lots of
Yep.
things. Um, they do exist. That's my
They
final
do.
thought
Yeah,
on that.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I had like 5 or 6 of them outside my room.
I want to get on to this next question because I find it
Yep,
interesting,
yep.
and I have been in this situation. So here's the next question from Kelly Berger. What are your thoughts on going into places known to have demonic activity? Would you attempt a cleansing? Well, interesting enough, Kelly, we work demonic cases,
We
so
do.
yeah. I've been to different locations that turned out. I never assume something is demonic. I don't go say, if I go to a place that people say, "Oh, it's got demonic activity," I don't just jump on that. I got to go in and figure it out. Like usually, me and Carly or us and our team, Spirits in New England, or one of our other teams, will go in and we'll figure it out for ourselves. And there's certain things that would indicate a true demonic type haunting. I have had true demonic type hauntings, and actually, the one we were on a haunting for it last year. They showed our case out of Massachusetts. That was a case where it did have a demonic type entity that was attached to or the land, the building, or whatever. It wasn't something we could get rid of for the people, but we helped them and taught them how to keep it out of their area. There is things you can do to cleanse an area and keep it at bay, keep it out. You've got to keep up with that every few months. But I did go in and do a blessing, not really a cleansing, but more of a you want to say it. I put up some shields around that area, and I did use prayer. And while we were doing the prayer up in the attic, the entire attic started to shake. We had bangs, we had scratches, and that was actually caught on camera while we were up there. And even you can even hear my investigators, Ellen and Sarah and Sharon, talking about the whole attic is shaking, and there's bang, and you hear the banging and scratching, and you see me over just praying still. I said, yes, I know, just I got to finish what I'm doing. And when I was done with the prayer and doing what I need to do with the holy water, and we actually spread salt out and stuff like that, everything stopped. Everything came to a stop, and we actually created a safe space for them within their portion of the duplex. It was a house. It was actually a historical site too. It had been a Masonic home of one of the head Masons out in that area. Don't know if it was ever really used as a Masonic temple, but they didn't have a temple for a while, so I do believe they had maybe done some rituals down in the basement. Kind of seemed that way. It would make sense that they would, until they were able to build their own temple, which they did later on. And this goes back quite a ways, where actually it was Paul Revere, who was a Mason, actually went out to this area of Massachusetts to these guys and kind of officially ordained, or whatever you want to say, their Masonic group and their temple when it was finally done. So it was Paul Revere who was actually involved with not that building that we investigated, but with the Masons in that area and unauthorized their group. So very interesting history, stuff like that. But yes, you can not necessarily do a cleansing, but you can do things to help keep the energy at bay. It's more of a protection type of setup. You're not trying to cleanse the home of this thing. You're not going to. It would take an exorcism. I'm not an exorcist. It would take perhaps an exorcism to do that if it's a true demonic. but you can set up protection for the home to keep things quiet so that people living there can deal with it for a period of time. But you got to keep up with that. It can't be just, it's never just a one and done. With ones like that, you've got to go back, you've got to show them how to do it. And every like 3 months, or when they notice activity starts to pick up, you got to go through those little rituals again with laying out salt, doing some prayer. You should have somebody come back in who's versed with that, that can do that for you. And you also set up some protection crystals and things like that in each corner of the home to keep the negative energy out. And we use white quartz for that. So there's different things. But yes, okay. So that's, I think, kind of answers that question.
And in terms of like going to a place to investigate, like events and stuff, if someone's like, "Oh my gosh, there's a demonic there," our faith, we believe, we are so headstrong with our faith that at least personally, I believe that nothing can touch me. And actually going through it and knowing that I have gone past my haunting, that I know that, it is possible to not be affected by those things because of your faith.
Yeah.
So we don't attempt a cleansing. We don't want to mess with that if we're at events and stuff.
Well, cleansing won't work for demonic anyway. You've got to,
anyway, so
yeah.
don't want to poke the bear anyway.
Right, you've got to do an exorcism on the location, and you need somebody who is a typically ordained minister who is an exorcist. You need an exorcist to actually do that. All right, so here's a question from Cheryl Brookshire. Have you used the camera that shows the stick figure anomalies? That's called an SLS camera, Cheryl. And yes, we have used that with some very good, successful. I would just say success. We have captured anomalies and we've captured EVPs at the same time. We've had other experiences at the same time. We've either been touched or something like that. But yeah, the SLS camera. Your thoughts, Carly? I really like it.
My favorite part was when we investigated over at what was it? The theater over there, where we were pointing the camera at the window and we saw a figure, and it was dancing. But then
a mirror, not a window.
It.
It was a mirror, not a window.
Yeah, it was. Did I say window? I thought I said mirror. It was a mirror. Yeah, it was a mirror. And we kept like moving in and out trying to get ourselves, because we thought the camera was detecting us, but there was no way we were in the view of the actual mirror. We were practically outside the door. And so that was really cool.
Or we're way off to the side. Yeah, we did. That was an event that we did last year. That was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool place. But yeah, I've used it on regular investigations and stuff. I know other people have. I do like it. I enjoy it. I wish it had a little bit longer battery life. But there is a newer one. Actually, the one I have, somebody gave me. And I greatly appreciate that. They bought a newer one and they gave me their old one. So I greatly appreciate it. They're a little pricey. Unless you're really doing a lot of investigating, don't invest into one. It's not worth your while. If you've got your own team, if you got a team, you guys go out and investigate a lot. Yeah, splurge, chip in, pick one up. They're not cheap.
As long as you're putting your money's worth into it.
Yeah, if you're doing a lot of investigating, well worth it. If you're new, if you're just doing stuff once in a while, don't waste your money on it. There's better things to spend your money on than that. So get yourself a good IR camera or a full spectrum camera. You're better off spending your money on that, even if you're just going once in a while to different locations. But the biggest thing is, when people, I do see a lot of people go to events and go to things like that, and they bring all this equipment, and they never review it. They just never review it. So what are you going with? If you just want a one-time experience, don't waste your money on too much of any equipment. You can use your phone. There's stuff right on your own phone that you can use to investigate with, and you already got a phone. So any of those smartphones, you can download apps, and they work. They do work. I've got many years experience with several apps now that I do know you can get real communication with. So. And that's not just based on the app. That's based on multiple things. I never base anything on just one piece of equipment. It's based on multiple things, capturing EVPs, getting words come through on the apps, things like that. Personal experiences that all happen within the same time frame, within moments of each other. And that's where you're getting communication, not just one thing. So don't ever get confused by that. So but I do like the SLS camera, but we do a lot of investigating too. So, and here's Bob's answer to my question. So I'm going to push this up there. Here's Bob's answer. Thank you, Bob. Love it so far. Have used it at a friend's house, and it would go up to 6. He's talking 6 milligauss. When I asked for someone to make it go to 6, if the answer is yes, see, direct answer. Go to 6 if you're yes for yes. Did it several times, but the Bulls head in, which they just did not too long ago. Our whole team, or well, most of the team, I think that we had for our paranormal class. Yes, our class of 11 people ended up being one team. We brought a team together, which is very cool from our class. Bob is one of those. At the Bulls head in, it did go to 2.5 once, but stayed at 0 most of the night. So you could have, with that, you could have hit on just either an anomaly. If you captured an EVP or something, or you had somebody had a personal experience when it hit the 2.5, it might mean something. Otherwise, the 2.5 is kind of anomalous, doesn't necessarily mean something happened. But Bob did go to a case with us where we were helping this one woman out, and we were sitting at the table, and we believed it was her mother trying to contact her. And every time, now his millimeter was at 0, but every time we brought up the woman's mother, it would spike up to like 3, 6, whatever. It kept going. Every time we'd mentioned her, talked about her, it would spike up, and it did it multiple times. So I do believe that was the mother letting us know, yes, it's me. I'm communicating to my daughter, and it was very interesting. And the client got to see that as it happened.
Yeah,
That was during
and that actually convinced her because she wasn't convinced that it was her mom.
no, until she saw that happen, she
So
wasn't convinced. That's
that
right.
was. Thank you for that, Bob. That was awesome that you brought that. That was super cool.
And Teresa Fowler just want to stop in and say hi to us. Hey, Teresa, we always love to see her from you.
Hope you feel better.
Robin Kale said thank you for answering her question. Penny Tessman has a question. I'm just going to put this up. I'll put all the questions up from now on. What do you think of a spirit that just wants to stay earthbound? Do you think that that they have to go forward? No, I actually don't. Personally, I don't think they have to go forward. If they're just again, everything's situation based. Everything's you know, um, you got to take them. You got to take them face each one at its face value. Um, if a spirit stays in the home that they loved and they cared about, and they don't want to move on, maybe that's their little piece of heaven. Don't make them. Don't force them to leave. As long as they can get along with the people living there, that's fine, but they've got to come to terms with the fact that it's really not their home anymore. Changes are going to take place, things are going to happen, and they're going to have to deal with that. Now they have the choice still to move on if they want to. If maybe that activity gets too much, they've got to realize they don't own the place anymore. And if they can't deal with the changes that are happening, then maybe it is time to move on. And that's the approach you want to take if you're helping out with an investigation. If that person seems to think it's really their home, and you got to lead them to believe, you got to show them it's not your home anymore. You've passed on. You can stay, but now you're going to have to deal with the people that are living there, and you have to be respectful of these people, new people that are living in your home. It's their home now. It's their time. And you can choose to move on if you want to. If it's too much for you, maybe you should move on. But they don't have to. There's sometimes that certain ones you probably should try to force, those especially very negative ones that were you again, you have to investigate. You can't just make assumptions here. You have to investigate, find out what's going on. And when you find one that's just a negative individual, he's really trying to hurt people that are living in the home and bother them and everything else, it's time to push them along and move them on. That's not always demonic. A lot of people call things like that demonic, but they're not. They're just negative people. They were negative in life. They're still negative in death. And you've got to move them along. You've got to force them to go sometimes. Those type of people, I think they need to be moved along so they can get past that anger. And part of that's once you move on, they'll find they don't have that anger and that negativity anymore. And just because they were negative in life doesn't necessarily mean they are going to go to hell. it depends on what you did. If you're murdering somebody and stuff like that, that's a whole other situation. But if they were just a miserable person, they'll be given a chance to make that up. I do believe they'll be given a chance to make things up, and it'll be up to them whether they want to do that. But they will find that once they've moved on, even a certain ways, they won't have that baggage anymore. They won't have that anger anymore, and they'll be able to maybe try to make amends and move on for what they did. But I don't think every spirit should be forced to move on or made to move on. No, Carly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, sometimes their situation that they're in currently is the best for them. It's their own little piece of heaven. So, kind of forcing them to move on would be a bit disrespectful if they're not harming anybody and they're just kind of just enjoying what they're doing. And, it's, I think that they deserve a right to choose where they want to be as long as it's not negative.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right, here's a good question regarding tech. Bob Burnell says, "Hi, Jack and Carly. For recording VPs, what hertz do ghosts talk on?" I don't think any of us know for sure. It varies. Regards to that question, it varies. It's sometimes either in the higher band or typically it's in the lower band. I was reading up on 18.98 hertz, the ghost frequency. Curious as to when buying a microphone, what hertz should it be? Actually, I don't concern myself with that too much. Most microphones, even the microphone on your phone, if you've only got a digital recorder that's on your phone, but most digital recorders will record within the band. It's you usually get a wide band because you never really know for sure what frequency it's going to be on. Most when they're talking the 18.9 hertz, they're talking about the frequency when they're discussing the bands for like spirit boxes and things like that. Where in what range do the voices come through on that? I think that's mostly what they're talking about when they're that. But they do speak. They do tend to be found EVPs on the lower bandwidth. Sometimes on the upper bandwidth. So you want a microphone that has a wide range, wide hertz band range in actuality. And most digital recorders will have that. Okay. This is why most recorders we capture EVPs on. It's just a wider range. The wider the range, the better your chances are you're going to pick something up either range. Usually we don't, where it's in a range that we don't normally hear in, it will be captured by the recorder. You'll be able to play it back and hear it on there. That's why we don't hear them when they say it, except when we hear a disembodied voice that falls within our hearing range, and that's why it's different for different people. Some people hear them, some don't, and I think that has to do with our hearing range. So I just kind of focus on wider band range, high quality, better quality microphones. Stereo type microphones are best. A little bit better if you can afford a decent audio recorder. Pick up a better quality audio recorder. I don't typically buy a separate microphone for it though, but you can. And if you're using audio off your camera, you may want to have a separate microphone recording for the camera because not all the built-in microphones on these cameras are the best. So you may want to get a camera microphone for that. Just go with a better quality recording microphone that's more like for recording music or recording audio for if somebody's doing small videos and stuff like that and they're looking for a good quality microphone. Look for that type of stuff. You don't have to spend a ton of money. You might spend $50, $60, $100 on one, and that's okay. But there's ones out there you can spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on. I don't think they're worth it for what we're doing. But yeah, wider band range, you're better off, I think. I wouldn't get too keyed in on one band range because you're limiting yourself.
Yeah. But I have your book here if you want me to list off the recorders that you have recommended.
I did, yeah. And some of those recorders are no longer available.
They're all Olympus models, so.
Yeah, I started off with Olympus, and those were very good recorders, and they're cheap. You don't have to spend a lot of money. And that book is mostly, again, that's for people starting out. It's basics. That's the 101 course.
I have it over by my desk here.
But I've even started to just use my own cell phone for recording, because actually the microphones that are on those are better than what you can buy for
Oh, yeah.
even what some of those original microphones were. And I talk about that in my class anyway. So, because some of the recorders now that are on your microphones are high quality, high definition microphones that are in stereo too. So you can get good recordings just with your phone. Yeah. I see. Okay, I'm looking
Cheryl
down.
Berkshire has a good question.
Okay,
Have you ever done mirror scurrying?
scrying.
It says scurrying, but scrying, yes.
Scrying. She's talking about scrying.
Scrying.
Well, where's her question there?
She's actually a couple comments below Bob Burnell's.
Oh, we have a friend in from British Columbia, John Northcote. Okay, thanks, John. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey,
All the
John.
way from British Columbia in Canada. Woohoo.
Oh, cool.
Vernon, British Columbia in Canada. Awesome. Oh, here's one. Here's one too. We'll get back to, because I think this came before hers. William Maskell. What do you consider the best scan speed to use in a spirit box? I run it at 100. I think it's at 100 to 100 hertz. The fastest. I like the fastest speed because it's less likely you're going to be picking up on something. Either 100, 150. Less likely you're going to be picking up a word coming through the actual radio frequency. So I like the faster the scanning frequency, which I believe it's 100 I think it's 100 milliseconds, which
in reverse, right?
it's just so if a word comes through on that, yeah, that's something else coming through.
Yeah.
I will slow it down sometimes, usually at 150. I don't go usually less than 150.
In reverse, right? You put it in reverse.
Well, all reverse means is it's scanning the opposite direction.
Yeah.
It's not scanning. You're not like, if you were to just leave it in reverse and turn on the radio, you're not going to be hearing people talk backwards. It doesn't do that. Okay. What it does is it scans in the opposite direction, then forward. That's all.
Mhm.
That's all reverse
Oh,
means. So people get confused over that. And that's a good point, though, Carly. It's not scanning with the words coming out backwards. It's not what's happening. It's just scanning the signals in reverse. Here's another question. How many realms levels do you think there really are in the afterlife? It's a good question. I mean, I know what my belief system is. For me, you have that point after, if you've done something wrong or whatever, committed suicide, you have that piece where you've got to be kind of what I call kind of purgatory. You're here. You're not allowed to move on either way yet, until you've either done what you're supposed to do to make up for what you did, or you don't. You're given a period of time, I believe, to do that. It's whatever. And if you do it, maybe you'll go to the higher level. If you don't do it, you're going to go down to the lower level. I know about the different levels of hell. I'm Roman Catholic, so I believe in heaven. I believe in hell. I do believe in purgatory. Carly, you speak to that because you kind of had a unique experience with that. Or do you want to get to what's her name's question first?
Well, I can just put in a little of my blip. So personally, I believe that there is a huge universe out there and anything is possible. So there probably are tons and tons and tons of realms based off of everybody's faiths. That's what I believe, but I choose to belong to the realms where there is the heaven, the purgatory, and the hell. From my experience, I do believe that I actually did visit purgatory and actually did get to see hell. I will tell you that it was very frightening and very scary, and I would never ever want to be in those two places again. But that is what I do believe. But yes, Cheryl's mirror scrying, because I personally haven't mirror scryed. I don't know if you
I
have.
gotta say one other thing about the other afterlife,
Yes.
levels. There is other belief systems. This is just our belief systems.
Yes,
There's other
exactly.
people out there, and some of you may have other belief systems, that there are multiple levels to the afterlife. One of those levels being even reincarnation. So, just because we're saying we believe in one thing, that's not the end all be all of it.
Right.
There are many other religions out there, many other belief systems out there. Whatever you prescribe to, or study it, read about it, learn more about what your belief system is, and if that's what you subscribe to, that's fine. We're not putting anybody's down. I want to make that very clear.
Oh
But
yeah.
we have our own belief of what, from based on our own experiences and our own belief systems. So that's ours. But
It's dependent on what
we're not
everybody
we're
is
not
comfortable
denying any. At the same time,
with.
I'm not denying any of the others to exist either. So I could
Right.
be totally wrong. I can get over there and find out. Oh my God, there's 20 levels, and I'm at level 2. Damn.
You know.
And I'll be like, oh, okay. Well, maybe next time around I'll have a different belief system then. Okay. So, but none of us know for sure. But that's just
No.
our personal. All right, go ahead with the scrying. Let's get back to the scrying.
So I personally haven't done any mirror scrying. I haven't really actually even looked into it, so I don't know. We haven't really touched this concept on this show, so I want to hear about your opinion about it.
Mine.
Yeah, what do you think about mirror scrying?
I don't do it. It's not, to me. It's not much different than opening any other um, communication session. Because when scrying, you're either, it depends on what you're trying to do with the scrying. Either you're trying to communicate with spirit on the other side. Some people scry to see the future. I don't do that. And they scry with mirrors. It's kind of like the crystal ball. They'll scry with mirrors and
Oh,
they're going to try
right.
to see the future. I don't do that. I don't want to know the future. It's my own personal thing on that. Rather be a surprise. But for scrying for spirits, I don't like to do that with mirrors because you can permanently open a portal for anything to come through. But if you do, there's ways you can close those. You can start sessions and then close them too. You can scry using a map to try to find a location of some psychics do this for trying to help the police of where a body was left or buried or whatever when they're trying to solve crimes. They scry an area for that. We did do something similar to that where I didn't use pendulum, but I just used my own intuition for looking at a map to see where somebody possibly could have been dumped, and have
Yeah.
my own theories and my own thoughts on that. And I'm having a few other psychic mediums look at that same map and try to see what they come up with. If we all came up with the same basic answer, that'll be very interesting. So scrying there's different ways to scry. People use sand scrying, where you can use a pendulum and it can create words or letters in the sand and over a bowl full of sand, and they create objects or whatever with the scrying in the sand with the pendulum. So I've seen that too. So there's all different ways. I do believe in it. I do believe it is useful. um, I just don't like to scry with
Yeah.
like mirrors and things like that. I'd rather try to just open up a regular communication through either
That
uh,
seems so
using
broad.
K2 or using a spirit box or something like that. And even those sessions you have to close. But I don't know, something about mirrors. I just don't like messing with the
No,
mirrors that much.
yeah. That seems like you can't really be specific with who you want to talk to because you don't know if that person can specifically conjure up that much energy to put into that thing.
Hmm. Here's our
So,
good friend. Here's our good friend. Yeah, I think. Okay, can finish up, Carly. I just want to put this up
no,
there.
no,
Just
you're
so
good.
it's about it.
No, absolutely. And hi, Crystal. Oh my gosh, I miss you so much. You guys
Yeah,
are
we haven't
awesome.
seen you in a little while, but here's her question. I'm curious. Have you conversation with deaf spirit before? You know what? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question.
I don't know.
I don't. I could have. Maybe in life they were deaf. I don't. I don't think once you've passed on. I think spirit wise, I think some of those physical limitations are gone. So, and they don't hear us, I think, the way we think they're hearing us with ears. They're not, interacting with us with eyes and voice. And it's a different, they can hear us, but in a different way. I think because you can ask, this is something I've done. You don't always have to ask your question out loud, because what you're doing is you're thinking of the question, then you're asking it out loud. You can just ask a question in your head, and spirit can hear that. I believe they not hear it, but they can get that information almost telepathically, and they can answer your question. I've had that happen where I just gave a matter of fact, this good psychic friend of mine said, don't ask the questions out loud, ask them in your head and wait for the answer. And I have done that at different locations and different times, and I've gotten the answer. So I don't think we can say, I've had a conversation with a deaf spirit. I don't think spirits are deaf anymore in that sense, in the physical sense. It's a different type of understanding. It's a different type of communication. Does that make sense, Crystal? I don't know. Carly,
Like
what's your
energy
thoughts on that?
reading. It's like reading the other person's energy, or
Yeah,
reading the other person's soul in a way. You know, their
yeah.
current status, or their intentions. They're reading our intentions, which our intentions at that point is to ask a question and get an answer. So they're reading that intention through energy. So that does make sense. Yes.
It does. It does. There was another question earlier on I want to get back to from Bobby Carter, because I know Bobby a little bit. Do you recommend anyone with long-term health issues visit any haunted places? My mom says my sister and I should not go because we might pick up an attachment. Um, the only thing my concern, it wouldn't be so much attachment. You can protect yourself spiritually when you go to locations for getting an attachment. There's either items you can bring as long as you have a strong belief system. If you believe in whatever it is you believe in, I don't care if it's cupcakes and fruit pies, and you believe they can protect you. Okay, if you
That
truly
sounds like
believe
something for
that,
me.
if you believe that, they'll protect you, but you have to have, my point is, you have to have a very strong belief system. Pray before you go in that nothing is allowed to attach to you. Nothing is allowed to come home with you. And say that again, do that again with whatever prayer you believe in before you leave. And I think you'll be fine. Envision the white light surrounding you and keeping all negativity away. That's how you protect yourself spiritually from anything, any spirits attaching to you and going
With
home with
grounding.
you. Yes, with grounding. Yeah, and Carly can talk more about
Grounding is
that. But
very important.
but I want to say, if you have long-term health issues, depending on what those health issues are, you want to be careful of the places you go to investigate. You don't want to go to places that are known to have a lot of mold or black mold, or that might cause you respiratory issues. You want to be careful of places that aren't really set up for people who maybe can't walk well. And there is places you can go that are able to access handicapped people or people with long-term health issues, but go with your stuff. I mean, I've seen people investigating who have health issues, and they're limited to where they can go in some of these locations, but they still go. We talk, we investigate, we have a good time. Those are at events and things like that. Most of the event people, they will, if you tell them up front what your issues are, they may suggest that you don't come, or they may say, hey, yeah, no, we can accommodate that. So it's okay. You just got to know the places you're going and talk to the people that run these places or hold these events, and see if they recommend it for you or not. But spiritually, you're not going to, as long as you have spiritual protection, and if you're with somebody who has strong spiritual belief, they can also help put protection around you, and you can investigate safely with that way with regards to spirits without coming home with an attachment of any kind. Also, just be careful what you say. Don't invite anything home with you. Don't say, show me how to communicate with you. Don't do that, because I did that, and they will try to show you by going into you and showing you how to communicate, and it's not fun. No, I was lucky dealing with something positive that I told it, no, that's what I meant, or not what I meant,
Yeah,
and it
but
went
we've
away.
we've had friends that have been like, "Oh, talk to me. Yes, I can. You can talk through me," and then they end up with a really bad attachment. So that's how you
Really,
get an attachment. That's a really good way of getting
don't
an
ever
attachment.
say you can use my energy to communicate with when you're somebody who has these type of health. Don't do that.
Nope.
Just say, hi, I'm here to talk to you. I'd like to communicate with you. If you could, use this device to communicate with me, that'd be great. Things like that. Keep it innocuous and keep it friendly, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine that way. But just, you want to make sure the location, and if it's a safe location physically for you to investigate. And again, just talk to the people that own these places, and they can tell you whether they can accommodate you or not. All right. So I got to take that one down. But that was, I think, a very good question.
Yeah, it was.
And it goes for any of us, right?
Mhm.
Someday I'll get to the point I won't be able to go anyplace anymore.
I'll be
Um,
pushing you around.
yeah, maybe I'll be in a wheelchair wheeling around.
Or
Hey,
Skyping. You'll be
hey,
Skyping.
I'm here. I'm here. I'll be Skyping in, yeah. And then we move to the K2 to say, Jack, can you communicate with us from the other side? And I'll go, I'm not doing nothing.
I am so screwed
I'll give him a quick flash.
when you
Quick
go
flash,
to the other
flash.
side.
And then I'll
Just
be like,
it's so haunted when you go to the other side. Just saying.
oh no, I'll
Um,
just mess with you in other ways. That's all. It's like, oh, I'll move your shoes, or
no, I know that's what I meant. Like
yeah,
you're
you'll
gonna
find
haunt
one
me for the
shoe
rest
by
of
your
my
bed,
life,
the other one outside in your car, or something like that. You know, be messed up.
and I'll be like, "Am I doing it?" I won't know if it's
Yeah.
towards me.
Did I leave it there?
Did I
Jack,
move
you
that?
jerk,
Wait, did
jerk.
I move that?
Penny Testament says, this is nice. Thank you, Penny. I like this. I'm just going to say, she is, so Penny Testament says, just love how you guys are so knowledgeable and so graciously helping others in the paranormal. Well, thank you. Thank you, Penny. We appreciate that. We're just trying to share knowledge out there. And we want you guys to share your knowledge too. That's why we like when you guys give your, I mean, I don't always point it out, but some of the people in the chat room are also giving, their ideas and thoughts on things, which is great. It's good. That's what we're here for. And I'm just checking our time. Let me see. Thanks for responding, William. Thanks for responding to my inquiry regarding scan speed. I really appreciate it. And he enjoys our input. So thank you, William. That's my own personal opinion on it. Try things out. I mean, that's my personal opinion on scan speeds. I like the higher speeds. I've had more success with it over the years. But you know what, William? Experiment with it. See what works best for you. Everybody's different. You might get better results with a different scanning speed just because of who you are, and how they want to communicate with you. So everything's, you just don't know, but give it a shot. Try different things. See which works best for you. But yeah, that's my own personal opinion. 100, 150 scan speed.
Sometimes it does affect who actually holds the like, say it's the spirit box, because if one person holds the spirit box and doesn't get much through it, another person can hold the spirit box and actually get good communication because of the energy that's connected to it
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
of the person holding it. So
Here's a question from Ruth.
hi, Ruth.
Yeah, I work at a convenience store and I see spirits out of the corner of my eye, and we know who Ruth is. So,
Yes.
like this past Saturday, I saw one spirit 2 times. Is that normal? I don't know what's normal or not normal. You see them.
It's paranormal.
It's paranormal. Yeah, it's above the normal.
Yeah.
So it's not normal. Not everybody sees spirits. We know that. And some people do, and some people do and don't admit to it. So, but we're always talking about the paranormal, which just means above the normal. So it's not normal in the sense of not everybody sees these things every day. It could be normal for you because you're more sensitive and you see spirit. So that's something that's normal for you. Everybody has their own normalities. I see things when I investigate sometimes. I've never seen a full body apparition, but I've seen shadow figures looking straight on at them, not even out of the corner of my eye, looking straight at them. I've watched them walk across ship decks, and I've watched them
I've talked to
standing
full
3 feet from me. So,
Oh,
looking straight at them, watched them
yeah.
fade away. So there's a lot of different things. Yeah, everybody's different. So I wouldn't say it's normal or not normal. It's just it's what it is for you.
You know what isn't normal is like walking into a mall and then having a person come up to you and like start talking to you, and then you look around and notice everybody's looking at you weird, and then you turn back around and that person's gone. It's like, that's weird. That is weird.
Yeah, that's weird. Well, here's one of our questions from Dwayne Woodward. If a spirit tells you to get out through a spirit box, do you get out? I like this question. I'll tell you why I like this question. What did you say to that spirit to tell you to get out?
Yeah.
And no, actually, if they told me to get out, no, I wouldn't get out. If I had promised them, if they would say something or come through, and I said, well, if you do something for me, I'll leave, then I would leave. Right. And if something happened and it was spirit community, I would leave at that point. But I think, here's my own personal opinion. I think most people get the get out when they start going in and saying, you need to communicate with me. Need to talk to me. You need to tell me who you were, and I want to know, how did you die, and this and that, and all these canned typical questions we also originally saw on all these ghost hunting shows, and still see on some of these ghost hunting shows. I think you get to get out because you're being rude. Okay, you're being rude in some way, or they took something you said as being rude. And I'm not talking to you directly, Dwayne. I'm just saying in general, we may have said something or done something that was rude, and maybe not, we didn't think it was, but they took it that way, and they're telling you to get out of their house. It's how I always tell people, talk to spirit the way you would like to be spoken to, even in your own home. If I came into your home and just started saying, "Hey, what do you do for a living? And who, where do you work? Do you live here?" And I started just saying all these random things. What would you tell me to do? Get out. I didn't invite you here. Get out. Because you got to remember, some of these locations we're just walking into what was someone's home. We weren't invited there, not by them, not by the spirits. We weren't invited there by the spirits. We were invited by somebody who's doing an event or something like that, or we're paying to go to an event. We weren't invited by those spirits. Be respectful when you go in. Say, hi, this is who I am. This is why I'm here. There's an event going on, or I came here to talk to you. I'd really like to learn more about you. And if it's okay, I'd really love for you to communicate with me so I could get to know you better. Here's who I am. Here's what I do for a living. Here's, blah, 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 blah. And then I think you get much better communication. But no, if I'm like doing and Carly would tell you, if we're doing like a residential case, something tells us to get out, that's being mean to the people that are living there, we don't get out. That our purpose is to be there, to try to help these people. So no, I'm not leaving. You got to remember too, most of what we do is residential cases. We don't go to a lot of the well-known haunted locations and just investigate. That's not what we do. We go to a lot of residential cases, try to help people figure out what's going on in their home. Is it paranormal? Is it not? That's what we do. And with that, people, we do have to say goodnight to you. It's an hour show. It's a little after 9. And if we'll be here every Tuesday, 8 to 9 p.m. every Tuesday. We're back, so we're all moved in, and we're back on track. So we'll see you again next Tuesday. If you want to catch any of my books, you can find them all online at Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. Just do a search for Jack Kenna. You'll find them all there. Carly, you talked to your event. You've got an event coming up next week, right? Tell us about that.
March 19th at the East Greenbush Library in East Greenbush, New York. I will be doing, or Jack and I will be doing
I'll be
there. A free seminar on spiritual protection. So it's from 6 to 8 p.m. And if you are a beginner investigator, it is good to start with information on spiritual protection. So you should head on over and join us.
Yeah. So if you're in the local area, come out and join us. That's all of our friends from our paranormal class, Bob, everybody. And so if you're local, come on out, say hi, come visit, learn about spiritual protection from Carly. I'll be there for moral support mostly. I'll be helping out too. But come on out and see us. Always love to see everybody if you can make it. And we'll be at different events around the East Coast. Check us out. Go to jackkenna.org. That's jackkenna.org. That's our website. All of the events are listed on our website there. Check them all out. And that's it for tonight, folks. Thank you again. I'm off to go watch Curse of Oak Island now.
Yeah. Awesome.
Enjoy.
Awesome.
Bye. Enjoy, everybody. Have a good night.